mean, you've got to improve your performance on Miramar before you even start to worry about Orangel.
I mean, again, I think it comes down to what you said. This is for Knights is you can't drop the ring into the pits of doom until you get rid of the spider hiding at your back, right? Like they're constantly letting this sort of threat behind them catch up, and I think that that's part of it. Is their awareness isn't there. Communication doesn't seem crisp. I mean, that's what Ninjas in Pajamas for me is doing well. They're communicating. They're following the 3Ds. If you listen to them play right now, they're very concise about how they're communicating as a team, and I think that that's. I mean, we can say that even in your pubs, that's a key to winning every single time.
Communication,
decisive communication.
Well, you know, a team that we necessarily haven't had a chance to talk a lot about, and I don't think that this region gets enough attention, but you can see Atletico is coming in, and they're improving consistently as they go through here. They're having these little moments of glory where they're coming in, they're making a play that really works out for them. They haven't necessarily got the points that they want to, and they haven't got down the consistency yet, but they're starting to get it. You can start to see through yesterday they were slowly improving. I would actually love to see them come through and start getting a little bit higher placements, maybe get into the top 5 a little bit more consistently and see how that plays out for them, because there's some strong players on there. They just need a little bit more LAN experience.
I chatted with them yesterday at sort of the end of the matches. And I kind of, we saw the interview with them, and they talked about, well, we're not going to Milton Power because we want to stand a chance in this game.
Yeah.
And I asked them, I feel like you guys aren't playing your game. Like, you're not confident out there. You're sort of giving a lot of respect to these other
scared.
teams. Yeah, and they agreed. They said, we agree. Like, this is sort of a really strong field for us, and I think that we're being a little tentative. And I think that that's the key for these guys, is they have to believe in their skill. They have to come out and stop saying, well, OCE is a weaker region, or we don't get to practice against the big guys enough, and say, you know what, we're just as good as they are. Let's not be scared to stand and bang. And they're not doing that.
They're here to represent OCE.
Yeah, don't treat this as a point where, oh, we finally get to play against the big guys and we can learn from it. I think that Atletico could be a big guy.
Yeah.
They could come through and they can actually really perform in this if they play their style, because it's working for Divine. Divine is playing that chaos style, for lack of a better term. Atletico doesn't necessarily play it the same way, but they play no fear usually. So I would love to see them really step up and just be like, you know what? Fine, we'll take this fight with FaZe. Okay, sure, they lose it. Worst to worst, they would have to try to rotate away from it. FaZe would probably get him anyway. Just have the balls to go step up and take the fight.
Well, and use the overconfidence. This is a staple for some of the top teams, right? This David Goliath scenario is FaZe, even FaZe, the great FaZe, will often see a team that they don't have as much respect for, and they'll come after them. But,
Oh, juggling.
Hey,
I mean,
he's got skills.
I don't know. He's a better juggler
Juggler
than he is fragger. Oh, but I mean, they came in what 8th, 7th, 9th place on Aaron Gold, not dropping Milta like Toffees wants them to see go there. Don't be afraid of FaZe. I agree. But then Miramar, 15th, 10th, and 10th. Match them. I don't know. I don't know if I can agree with you on their performance here. I mean,
look,
they're
15th,
just
10th, they're making their way up there.
I don't know. Miramar doesn't seem like it's their game at all.
Well,
just a quick we're having a little bit of technical difficulty. We're getting everybody into the service, so we're going to be filling for just a little bit longer while these guys load into Miramar. We'll keep an eye on them as we proceed, but. So Atletico.
Filling, more like chatting.
Filling, chilling. We're filling and chilling, man. So, okay.
Filling and chilling. Vitality. Have we talked about Vitality? I mean, Matcham brought them up. I mean, they started 13th place in game 1, 5th in game 2, 1st, 2nd, 4th, and then 9th. That one game that I felt like was the turning point for them, which obviously they won, was that radio tower. We had Navi on top the whole game, overlooking everybody. I believe, what was it, Vitality, they had the opportunity to push up there, but they chose not to. They remained down there on the bottom level. And once when that circle stopped favoring the radio tower, they were there ready to clean up, and they did a good job at cleaning up. I mean, 9 kills, pretty impressive for with the chicken dinner, of course.
Well, that was the first 9 kills that they had gotten in.
Exactly. And then after that, they got a 2nd, a 4th, and then, of course, the last game we saw it happen. But they were picking up the momentum after that win.
Yeah, they were on the struggle bus, and sometimes you got to get that bus up over the hump and push it downhill. And I think that that's what that circle on military was. You even heard during the interview, or some people heard during the interview. It was a little quiet for a bit there. But Yannick said, we have a lot of struggles with the Northern, with dropping military. And because of that, we feel like once in a while we do deserve to get a military circle. And so, like, they're happy. They got that one. They needed that desperately. And it did give them momentum rolling into Miramar.
Exactly.
The problem is, there's 3 Erangel games a day, right?
Yeah.
And with the 18% chance of a military circle, it's not like the old days when we played 6 games all on Erangel and you had a high chance of getting 1 or 2 per day. they may get 1 or 2 military circles in this entire tournament.
That may be their only military circle they get.
It's very likely it is. So how do you build an entire tournament off of 1 circle?
Well, they have been doing really well on Miramar.
I think they counter it.
Second place game 4 and 4th place on game 5.
And I think they counter it on Miramar by dropping center. They drop near the graveyard. So they're not doing that southern drop like they do in Erangel. They're not trying to handicap themselves on Miramar. So to kind of counter that strategy, I feel like they're dropping smack in the middle right there on Miramar to kind of get those circles in their favor.
I think they've learned the dangers of the long drop because of their time on Erangel.
Now, I will say, though, in relation to the rest of the top 5 teams, Vitality, their kills are a little bit low. I think they're only sitting on maybe 15.
Well,
16?
I think that goes back to those first 2 games, though.
Yeah,
like where they were having a little bit of struggle right there towards the beginning. If we see the games that we were seeing from them from the last 4 come through, I think that they would probably been a little bit better off.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, you're still finishing 4th place with 2 kills. 2nd place, I think they maybe had 4 in game 4.
5.
Well, 5. So I mean, they're getting into these late game circles, but they're not getting these bundles of kills like Nip and FaZe are.
If we want to talk about a team that I think that should start stepping up and stop being so passive, I think it's Snake. Right now, it feels like Snake has just kind of snaked their way into a victory. Like,
oh my God,
we were looking at Game 5 yesterday. If you remember, they were holding down these 2 points right next to the other team that was surviving, and the other team was just out running around trying to take down everybody all around them, and they were just posted up, holding angles on doorways, waiting for somebody to come after them. That's too passive of play.
Well, this is just
especially
generally
for top 10.
We were talking about what we've been seeing, what we expected to see from the Chinese teams versus what we have been seeing, at least in the first 6 games, was we expected to see this hyper-aggressive style of play. They get a knock, they push us 4. I mean, right off the bat, but we're not seeing that.
OMG's been kind of doing it. Divine is not.
Getting a little bit more.
They're so passive.
Well, Divine is,
Snake is all over the place.
But I mean, Vici, Snake, OMG, I mean, all these, the Chinese teams that we're kind of expecting this particular meta out of, and maybe it's because we're seeing the family teams.
Yeah, Snake all over the place. I mean, they're not on the top, they're not on the bottom. They got 6th place with 3 kills, 11th place with 3 kills, a 6th place with 2, 7th place with 3, 2nd place with 9 kills, and then a 16th place. They're just a seesaw. I mean, I can't even mark them down.
Well, what's weird is they fight early. They tend to fight really early and then not fight late, which is the backwards what everybody else does.
Here's the reality of it. Chinese teams, when they come to these tournaments, they often start slow on the first day. We expect them to be smash-mouth hard players because they are by the end of every tournament. I expect by the end of this tournament, we're going to see all of them adopting, maybe with the exception of one, I won't say all, like I'm not a universal person, but with the exception of taking that OMG style. OMG just did a little bit earlier this time, but I think throughout the next couple of days, we'll see their aggression amp up. I believe that the meta is more passive, where they play generally, and when they get here to the West and people are shooting at everything, stopping their cars to fire, it takes them a day or 2 to adjust and say, okay, we're going to play that Western meta aggressively.
Well, they do, and they do have the analysts and the coaches that are with them. They obviously not, as many as we have been used to seeing, because most of them are back home with the teams that are trying to qualify. But they still have, they have people with them here to kind of do those day-to-day adjustments that we're used to seeing. So, do you expect that to show out?
It has to have an impact. It has to have an impact. Whenever you have like multiple analysts that are here with you and go, okay, this is a problem here, fix this. You should see a sliding scale of improvement. Like, in my opinion, if you have analysts sitting there telling you how to improve every single day, and you don't improve day 2 and you don't improve day 3, that's not an analyst problem. That's not a team problem. That's something going on with the players themselves.
But they don't have the analysts this time. I mean, I was sitting in the
there's no analyst.
There's 7 total support team members here for all of the Chinese teams. That is about 1/10 of what we normally see at these tournaments, and that's because most of the support team is with the favorite children that are playing in the qualifiers.
The qualifiers.
But that's still 700% more than some teams have.
I get that, and I get that.
You made a good point yesterday, though. You said even if they're not here, most likely those analysts will, Skype them, voice them.
Yeah, but they're VOD reviewing maybe, but they're not here watching the game. So I think they will get some help, and they'll probably change their play style, but they need it. And just reminding us that they don't have the typical level of support they have. This is not, as much as we want to call them the family team, these are not the A rosters. This is the B team development team. teams, and we're seeing that in the scoreboard. I mean, it is what it is.
Well, so we're expecting then to see more day-to-day adjustments rather than game-to-game like we're kind of used to seeing.
They're in the same boat that Atletico is.
Yeah.
They're here playing out of what they normally train with, out of their league, okay? And I'm sorry, Atletico, but at the end of the day, they're coming out of their typical league, and they're playing outside of that. They're going to improve day over day in the same way that if I go out on the basketball court and start practicing with LeBron, I'm not going to be on his level, but I'm going to get better, right? I'm going to learn a lot from being out there with him.
Compare yourself to LeBron.
Well, no, not comparison. I'm saying I will learn from somebody who brings a level of play that I'm not used to.
I agree.
Well, we talk about that with Atletico, but on the flip side of that, somebody that's been at multiple lands, sure, not with the same roster, is Secret. And Secret's holding down that bottom spot at about 900 points. Keep in mind that
they
is
only
what
have 5 kills.
That's 1/3 of the present point leader right now. That's rough. Keep in mind, sure, 500 points per win, but it almost feels like Secret. I can't quite pin down what's going on with Secret. They're bouncing all over the place.
Two new players.
Yeah,
two new players.
But they're
so
strong players.
Yeah, and they
players.
played on lands before in Brazil as well, so it's not like it's their first land ever. But like we mentioned yesterday, that they practice the strategy of being passive because they know they drop Severny on Aaron goal. They know that most likely those bridges, those boats, if they get a southern circle, it's not going to be an option, so they're going to have to met up. And I asked them, are you guys all going to met up? And I haven't really seen that work. And
whatever it is that they're doing,
Aaron goal, it's a big mess.
The only secret is how do they get to the top 10 because they can't figure that out.
Another burn. Toffee's burning everyone today.
They're consistently going out
goodness.
earlier than they should. Their rotations are rough, and I need to see that improve.
Yeah, no, it's hard to disagree with that one, even though it's a burn.
Well, guys, we are still experiencing a little bit of a technical difficulties trying to get into these lobbies. So instead of hearing us just chatter on and on about our top 16 teams here at the PGL, we are going to show you some more player interviews. Let's go.
4M 的阿卢卡，吃鸡就大逃杀作为一个新兴的游戏在面前出现嘛，就当时感觉特别的新鲜，然后又有趣，然后自己身边也有很多以前一直和我一起玩游戏的朋友在玩，所以我也加入了这款游戏。就一开始这个游戏，比赛规则没有一个界定吧，就很多比赛有不同的规则，然后一直到现在的比赛的那种大致的圈型，然后积分都可以确定了之后，然后各种每个队伍才开始完善属于自己的不同的打法，然后我们队伍也从中选择了一套比较适合的自己的体系。最会去注重的应该是投掷物和对于地形的运用吧。我们比较擅长转移吧，就我们队伍就我打的比赛比较多，比较擅长在地图上大范围的转移。我觉得这次其他参赛队伍的水平都挺高的，有一些比较知名的强队，像痱子、力魁，然后也有一些通过预选赛打进来的，像 Team Secret。我们这个队伍在一起并没有多长时间，然后我们这次也没有为这次比赛做很多准备，就我们算是一个抱着学习别的强队的心态来参加这次比赛的。我们最喜欢的跳点应该是下城区和基港吧，但是那边大家都挺喜欢跳的，我们就放弃了。感谢粉丝对我们的持续关注吧，我们尽力打好每一场比赛，希望来回报大家对我们的关注。
My name is Sasha. I'm playing for Navi, and I want to win this tournament. My hometown is St. Petersburg in Russia. I have to say that it is the most beautiful city in the world, and I love it so much. I love living there, and it is very good. I love PUBG because it is the most realistic game, and It's really fun to play it more than any other games that I know. I think that PUBG Corp is very good developers. They made this game so good, and I hope they will do it better and better all the time. If I would change one thing, I would remove Red Zone. All the players will like this game more and more. I don't think that Sanhok could be a competitive map because it is very little, and it's hard for lots of teams to loot it. So I don't think it will be competitive. The secret of our team is that we are all very motivated to win, and we will win it. My favorite gun is AWM, and I want to prove it to kill somebody on this tournament. I like it because AWM is the most powerful weapon, and you can kill everybody just by one shot. I think that level of the other teams is very high on this tournament because all of them are the champions of the other tournaments. So they are really, really good. My favorite drop zones are Yasnaya Polyana and Pachinki because there are a lot of loot and you can fight other players. I love cities, that's all. I want to say to our community, thank you very much for support. We will win it for you, we will win it for everybody.
This is Vint, captain from Team Secret and representative on this tournament from South America. I'm from Chile. It's a really urban city, country. And I'm from the capital of Chile, Santiago, which is really an urban city. It's really close to what you can see on the United States. What I like about PUBG is that I think right now it might be the shooter that's more strategic of all time. I think the game is fine. Maybe I will change the use of the nades because I think the nades are taking such a huge impact on the game. I don't think Sanhok is good for competitive, at least on squads, because it's too easy to tier party a team, and also if the circle shifts to an isle, it's really hard to get to it. I think for my team it's important to remain calm, because sometimes we have troubles in communication, but it's basically our mistake because we speak too much when we are fighting. I think as for now, with this new roster, is that we are really explosive. Sometimes we don't even know that we can do things that work properly for us, so we can expect anything for us, and that's really good because sometimes we think we can't do this, but we do it anyways and it works. My favorite weapon right now is the Scarel. I like it because I think I only need the grip and that's it. And also I don't care too much about extended magazine because of the shooting rate that it has. The other teams that are playing this tournament are really experienced. There's a few that I haven't seen before, which is Atletico and BG Gaming, so I can talk about them. But the other ones are really experienced and have a really high level experience on all the environments of the game. I want to say thanks for the community for actually taking care of the SA region and really supporting us as we are an American team, not only from South America, and that's really good.
大家好，我是陈博，然后来自于 VG 电子竞技俱乐部，然后吃鸡分部。我的游戏 ID 是 Bite Me Now， 然后大家一般叫我老毕。我是队伍里面的指挥位，比较擅长于指挥，然后和掐一些时间点嘛。然后我来自于重庆的美丽的巫山县。我们巫山县是一个比较出名的旅游胜地，然后那边的吃的都比较有名，然后也非常的美味。因为靠近长江那边嘛，长江是一个也是一个旅游相当好的一个地方。就那边有什么小三峡呀、小三峡之类的地方，旅游非常的不错，所以欢迎大家来我们巫山玩。吃鸡这个游戏当时出来的时候真的是火爆全球嘛，然后我当时也是一个非常奇妙的在一个非常奇妙的时间点认识到吃鸡这款游戏。当时我刚上手的时候什么都不懂，然后进去之后发现这简直就是一个新世界，就里面所有的东西都是我基本没有接触过的，就觉得非常的新鲜。就每一局游戏我都会体验到不同的感受，所以说当时连续玩了几百个小时也不会觉得腻。吃鸡真的是一个非常有意思的游戏。 现在吃鸡就一开始吃鸡，就现在发展的还算是比较不错，因为现在蓝洞也是比较重视于就是比赛方面的事情嘛，然后这各部慢慢的完善一些什么，比如说观战系统啊，然后一些比赛的机制啊，都在慢慢的完善，都做的比以前越来越好了，所以说我觉得还算是发展的还蛮不错的，还比较有前景。严肃的话，可能我仔细想了一想，就之前也有想过这种问题，就是游戏里面，就我们不是经常在对抗的时候，然后会有护甲方面的损坏嘛，就比如说你打赢了一波团战，然后你们团灭了对方，但是你会发现我们双方都损失惨重，然后护甲几乎都是零，几乎都是没头没甲的状态，然后我在想这方面可能蓝洞需要做一些改进，就不会导致我们双方交战之后就导致我们双方的补给都会变得非常的差，就防具上面的耐久值什么的。这方面的话，我觉得就游戏来说的话，基本上最重要的就是信息2个字，信息是尤为关键的。比如说你听到那边有枪声，但是你并不知道对方有几个人，他们具体的站位是什么，这种的话，你就是基本处于一个零信息的状态，这种交战的话就会自然而然就会处于劣势，落于下风嘛。然后所以说我觉得信息非常的重要，如果我们一旦能够把握到敌方的所有的动向，他们想要干什么的话，我们就能够拟定一个非常好的策略去针对他们。现在最喜欢武器的话 ，SLR， 因为 SLR 是后面新出的武器嘛，就我之前最喜欢的武器是 SKS， 当时觉得这把枪就配件要的特别多，我是属于那种有一种强迫症的人，就我会觉得它配件越多，这把枪就会显得更好。但后面这把 SL 出了之后，就感觉它的枪口的跳动的频率什么的，好像要好很多，然后我就爱上了这把枪，就我遇见都会拿的。这次比赛，因为我们这个队伍也刚建不久嘛，然后也练习的不是特别的多，但是还是稍微做了一些准备，就稍微看了一下国外的比赛的视频啊，然后研究了一下金圈的路线啊、选点之类的。但是我们因为时间不是很多嘛，可能做的不是特别好，我们就只能尽我们最大的所能去准备这个比赛。跳点的话，我们现在一般是跳右上角的圣山，就圣山。
Sorry to cut you off there, but we are in game, guys. We are ready to go. We are going to throw it now to your casters for the first game, Mr. WTF Moses and Cameron Davis. Cameron, take us away.
Thank you so much, Polosaurus. I am WTF Moses, joined by Cameron Davis, and we are apparently ready for game number 1. Now, we have been waiting hotly for this first game to start, and now the question is, this first set on Miramar, we are in day number 2. A lot of distractions floating around today through the core of gamers out there ready to compete at the highest level. I saw not too many computers playing PUBG earlier this morning, so we'll see if these guys have been paying attention or are still sharp. So we've got all 64 guys in the lobby. We've got the plane in the air, and we are underway here at game number 1 of day number 2.
Yeah, this is a pretty sharp plane down to the southwest side, so anyone trying to go basically anywhere northeast of San Martin is going to have a difficult time getting there. But, I mean, that's the case for Miramar. You have to expect planes like this. You have to be able to adapt to this stuff because with such a large map, it's going to happen eventually. You can't always expect to have a perfectly down-the-middle plane route.
Right. So with that, we will see everyone kind of filter out. So with Miramar in the bag yesterday, really, Cloud9 technically won a round in round 6 yesterday, but really it was all ninjas in pajamas. They won both of the games to start Miramar yesterday. So we'll be following them closely to see if they can replicate that success. Now, the big story today, Cameron, Ghost being so far down the leaderboard. I think this is their day. This is a pivotal day for them to just get their heads back in the game and figure it out.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time that we've seen Ghost have to come back from a pretty awkward showing in the early days. We still have, this is only, 1 of 4 days that we've done. We have 18 games left. They certainly can do it. They didn't really seem down either. They're a team that has a very good mental attitude. They don't really kick themselves. They never really get depressed and super down when they're having their own struggles. And so hopefully them with the help of their coach, analyst, They can learn how to figure out this stuff. But this circle is a wide swing up to the northwest.
Yeah, that's a little bit awkward considering where the plane started. Most teams finding their way. Actually, Nip is still in the air, but are floating into the circle. So that is a bonus for them. They're not going to have too much movement required here in the early going. Divine finding themselves in a similar situation, having Pozo essentially all to themselves, phase a little bit further to the south, are in that Monte Nuevo area. Now, the Knights are in a similar position where we've had, I guess, some inconsistency from them through the first couple of days. Vitality, I think, started slow on Erangel, but has definitely picked it up and ended with not only a victory on Erangel, but have been playing around the level we've expected from them.
Yeah, they eventually got up to it, and that just goes on Erangel. Their struggles were the fact that the circles, at least during the first two, were not in their favor. They're the worst circles for them to play around with, and we talked about how sure they could do a couple of things to kind of fix that up, to tighten it up a little bit, to give them a little bit of extra boost to deal with those more northern circles. But at the same time, you still can't expect them to flourish on those sorts of circles on a consistent basis. So hopefully once we go back to Erangel, we'll be able to figure out, they will be able to show us that not only they can fix that up a little bit, but also we're not going to get so many northern circles on that time.
So we've had a bit of an interesting day number one. The leaderboard is, I think, around what we would have expected for most of the teams, but really we've talked a little bit about this, the Chinese teams with their alternate rosters here today and through this tournament. 4AM specifically has not really been consistent. I think that they've shown flashes in the past, but just have not really shown us anything here. Aluka is one of the only holdovers from the previous squad. So for these Chinese teams, what do they need to do to kind of change it up? Snake TC, I think, is really my most improved from the last time we saw them at PGL, but they haven't really been dazzling us either.
Well, there were a couple of moments that really highlight the problem with a lot of the Chinese teams. Wild Ghosts, they're actually entangled up
with Atletico. Heffa trying to get away. Extreme taking a couple of pot shots at that AK, but giving up the battle there and just retreating back to continuous loot phase.
I'll be curious to see how the fact that both of these teams, Atletico and Ghost, they are mixed up in the southern area, how that's going to affect their looting patterns, their rotation timings, having to go to such a northwest circle. But they do still have a couple more moments to see how that concludes. But going back to the Chinese teams real quick, the biggest problem that I've been able to recognize with them, or I guess one of the problems, is that they aren't very decisive. It's almost like they're not very comfortable and that they feel very, very, like, they don't know how to deal with a lot of these teams that are not B teams.
Yeah.
Because that's still going to be in the back of your mind. It's like, oh, we're just the subs. We don't have the full trust and support of our orgs in the same way that, like, the top-level teams that the starter teams do. And so hopefully they're able to get a knock and immediately jump. Because there have been instances that they've gotten a knock and then it's taken them a couple of moments before really coming to a decision on whether they want to push that or not. If they can make a decision immediately based off of that, I think that's going to improve those teams at least a little bit.
McCoy trapped. You can hear Atletico kind of driving around. He's all by himself, however, doesn't want to get this fight started. Maybe he wants to take a couple of shots at the fleeing Neferhor, but Lynxie's coming through as well. So now it's up to McCoy. Does he want to make himself known and try and get a kill?
Oh.
He's not been spotted, but I'm not sure if this is intentional. Clearly not, as Neferhor will jump out and get taken down by McCoy and flushed down as McCoy now runs for the hills, trying to maintain his positioning here. He's got lots of pressure on his position. No help on the way just yet. Lynxie trying to rotate around. McCoy not in a great position here, but he does have the fence line to work with. The pre-fire comes out, but it's not going to work out for McCoy as they trade out 1 for 1. Ghost loses 1, and so does Atletico. And like you mentioned, Cameron, they were tangled up to start this game, and they trade out players each.
Yeah, it was a very good job of McCoy after getting that first knock to break that line of sight. But with the 2v1, Atletico countered it well with the double peek around the side. They were able to force him into a corner, and they peeked together. which that's always a very good skill to utilize if you have the man advantage, because it means that if McCoy were to even get that first knock, there would be a player there immediately to trade it out, and they wouldn't have been flushed a second time. McCoy made sure to get that first flush down so he could secure the 20 points because he knew how dire of a situation that he was in. There was no guarantee that he was going to be able to make his way out, and so if anything, he could make it an even trade, and that's exactly what happened.
First rotations starting to begin here as we have a couple of teams making their way from the very far reaches of the map. Na'Vi, speaking of, headed along that eastern seaboard, trying to find their way up north. Joining in with the Knights now, looking down at Divine, the 2X Car 98. Shots have been ringing out already, but nothing going to them. The Knights in an interesting position up here. Don't have the optics to really put a ton of pressure onto Divine in their current positioning. Divine, I think, has been the standout for me. A relatively, at least for me, unknown team, not very proven in high-level competition, but finding their way here and had a terrific day number 1. And we've seen this in the past where unknown or unfamiliar teams come in, have a good day 1, and then kind of maybe lose some of that consistency. So if you're Divine, what's going right?
It's really hard to say with such a small sample size, but I'm still gonna basically repeat your sentiment how coming in after, Secret have not been having a good event so far still.
Nope.
Yeah, this is not great. I mean, in Paranga's
sometimes
defense,
you roll a vehicle, I mean,
yeah,
it's Miramar driving. It's never an easy task, but for Secret, yeah, it's just not working.
It's gonna be another easy kill for Snake, as you said, being actually one of the standout teams from the Chinese region. But for Divine, less than a month ago, they were at another event, Star Series Season 2, and they performed, I think, the worst, if not one of the worst teams of the qualifier stage, not even the main stage. And yet here they are at the top of the leaderboards now. I don't think we've seen this sort of jump in level of competition from any other team.
ZKK is just, trying to finish that kill off, but, Secret's got no support for Paranga, and he will be the 4th man out of the lobby. We saw Jazza fall to his death and then get finished off by Gaxi, so I think that Vitality is having a bit of a tough rotate. You can see where Nip is positioned. They might have had to drive right through them. Jazza being the cost. NBS is further into the center of the map as it looks like the Knights have the best spot in the current play zone. People have shuffled to the center, but we still have a lot of guys outside the zone. So now for Na'Vi, still taking that long rotation, trying to find their way in. They might wind up arriving late, but we'll see if that will cost them phase. Also centered up, they've got the hilltop position to themselves. Miramar, Cameron, seems that open positioning more favorable than that closed compound positioning we've seen in the past. And for FaZe, a team that likes to get tangled up into team fights, this is probably an ideal spot for them.
Yeah, and it just has to go to the fact that the map is so large. In the first circle on Miramar is actually surprisingly a lot larger than like the first circle on Erangel as far as the land that you play around. And so you don't really get punished for being out in the open for silhouetting all over the place on this map as you can on Erangel. And so for the early games, it's all about getting a spot that you can find information that you can rotate out of easily for wherever the next circle swings towards, as well as just with the added benefit of dealing damage where you can. Even if you don't get a kill, like ZKK did from Snake, you can also just deal some damage to armor, which is fragile enough as it is. If you knock a helmet, that's a really big bonus in the early game, and just start to affect the war of attrition that happens in the early game on this map.
Looking at the map now, again, most teams still trying to find their way in. Ghost, team we mentioned earlier, still trying to figure out how they want to rotate into this first zone. Frolicker and Extreme still stuck out in the blue. Heffa from Athletico has a friend in tow, but they're out in the blue as well. So these two teams that met early are still trying to figure out how they want to get up into that first zone. So for Liquid, they've got a gifted crate landing right on top of Ibiza. Mista and James driving up from below. Samty on the IV drip. The story of this tournament for Team Liquid is how Samty is still dealing with illness, looking to have that Michael Jordan flu game potentially here today as he's got the neck pillow, the IV, and hopefully the iron will to continue to compete here. So for Ibiza and Liquid, picking up that crate early will be a bonus, but they found their way into the southern portion of the zone.
Balak is now arriving, though. So
maybe Balak saw the crate. This might be another loss for Ghost coming up very quickly here.
Or Liquid. Balak is certainly noticing the vehicles around that area, so he may stop and try and punish that. Doesn't seem to be too much of an issue right now. He's actually just waiting for his team to arrive behind him. They've actually diverted back towards the east a little bit. They didn't want to deal with 4 a.m. and Atletico's rotations on the far southwest side. But the next circle does appear. It's pretty central. This isn't going to disrupt too many people. The only people that are going to have to rotate inside are the ones who came later and are staying along the edge anyway. 4 a.m. though, it looks like they're actually trying to divert down south, going back into the blue at least momentarily. We saw them talking earlier about how they're they think that they're really good at the long, wide rotations. So they're employing that strategy right now rather than going straight into the center of the circle like we threw a lot of people. But Secret.
Oh, no. The woes continue for Secret, arriving right on top of Snake TC. And that is another quick loss. So Snake taking another one off of Team Secret as Noah and Smitty, the last two left standing, turn and run as ZKK puts pressure on with the mini long range. Noah trying to get away, but he does hit a tree and stop. This is maybe another loss coming for Secret, whose woes continue. Looks like Noah is gonna back away and be able to get away. He's got a ridge here to work with, so that should be okay for them. But meanwhile, Balak, having stopped a little bit a while ago, has found themselves a kill.
This is just
Secret is just not having it.
It's not, and it's
Noah can't
surprising.
drive his car to save his life. He's just trying his best, but Snake is refusing to allow him to get away. So Noah, relatively equipped. I mean, he's got that 6X in the M16. He can fight back, but he's all by himself, having been abandoned by his teammates. Well, the last left standing, I suppose. In Smitty's case, he's probably seen the writing on the wall, and he wants to get out of here. So for Noah, now he's in a weird spot.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Secret even went in that way, that direction, because ZKK got a kill just moments ago on their first player, and it seems that they were completely unaware that where Secret's positioning was, and I don't know the exact situation that Secret were in, but it is likely that it shows a complete lack of scouting and just lack of being able to figure out where other teams are, and that skill is incredibly crucial in this game, especially in the early stages.
Looking at the map, Ghost still trying to figure out a way into the zone. There are children or something just having a party next to us. I don't exactly know what's happening, but it sounds like they're having a lot of fun. But for Vitality, just in the middle of the map, hanging out. Yeah, if you could shut that door, Cameron, that'd be terrific. Don't trip on anything, buddy. The Knights also in a decent position. We've seen now the rotation phase relatively complete. Now it's just a matter of settling in. Still 58 alive, about 14 and a half minutes into the game.
Knights are in a good spot. They were center in the first circle. The next circle helped them stay relatively central as well. They are sharing this crater with a couple of other teams. We're looking at Ninjas, VG, OMG across the way as well. But they're in a nice spot to pick up a lot of kills. And they can overlook a lot of things if they can control this area. But this could be a fight for any of these teams along this crater ridge to start to control the area surrounding them and keep this high ground advantage. It's all about limiting the lines of sight that the teams on the ridge have against you, are trying to punish the people down below.
VG, every time we've come to Bite Me Now with that SKS, he's taking pot shots at someone standing perfectly still and not landing anything. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's just a luck of the draw every time we check in with Bite Me Now. But Nip dodging those bullets was a big deal. Not wanting to get that early on damage, but for the most part now we've settled into this second phase, and this is kind of the slow part of Miramar, where teams now have found the middle, but don't have a lot of options for maneuverability. And Miramar is one of those maps where it just kind of is a slow burn. After that third and fourth phase, once vehicles become harder to deal with, I mean, because really if you think about it, after that third and fourth phase, vehicles are just deadly to drive around. You'll be driving into teams left, right, and center. So rotating on foot, especially with the circles giving you those hard shifts from time to time, can be difficult to manage.
If Miramar were half the size, vehicles would hardly ever be touched.
Right.
It's all about traversing the long distances, and the circle is going to keep shrinking that, but this is a hard shift down on towards the southwest, and this is, again, a really good opportunity for Knights to really trade back and punish those players sharing that crater ridge with them. VG, they're stuck on the edge, trying to deal some damage to Liquid, who are on their own rotation, but they don't want to stick here for too long because they're going to have to push in through Ninjas if they don't want to do a wide rotation in the other direction.
Vitality taking some shots at Ibiza as he tries to sneak past. Trying to find a way into this next zone. It's the early move from Liquid. Monkey, this is going to be a little bit dangerous for Ibiza. If he loses a wheel in rotation here, he's going to be stuck out by himself, but Ibiza is going to be able to get past Vitality and the watchful eye of Monkey.
I think this was a split by Liquid. I must have missed it at the start looking at the map, but
yeah,
it looks like those two
arriving late.
Yeah, they were arriving late, but they already had, I think, 2 players down in that compound down the southeast edge of this next circle.
Samty arrived there early, I believe, and then with the crate and the little tangle up with Ghost on the way past, I think might have slowed them down. But Liquid now 4 strong, finding themselves all together as Noah once again doing his best to get that elusive kill for Team Secret as Botulin's Murado is just doing some breakdancing moves out there. And they seem to be willing to ignore Noah, who appears to have lost his vehicle.
He did.
Is on foot.
Yep.
Without any teammates.
Yep.
And he's got a long run to the zone. So he's quite far away as Noah's still up by La Cabrera.
It was a greedy maneuver to even send those shots onto Na'Vi because he has got to run. He is going to come in very, very late, likely overtaken by the blue for at least a couple of moments in there as well. Speaking of coming in late, though, we got Ghost in their own wide rotation, and Extreme is trying.
Well, he's got a lot of damage onto that Bronco.
He does, but he's trying to hold on to this hilltop for the rest of his team to arrive, and he's got other players surrounding him. As you can see, you got VG and Vitality onto the north as well. They're not attacking his position directly, but this isn't the strongest position. Ghosts are going to have to try and turn this into something solid, but right now it's all about just getting into the circle. Morningstar.
He's taking some shots. He had to stop a little bit early, and now he's found himself caught out. He doesn't have a lot of cover to work with. Extreme 2G is now going to get the high ground position on him. The smoke already going down. I think Morningstar is starting to realize that he's in a very tough spot to defend. Frolicker about to push that ridge as well. Bite Me now arriving, but this is looking like Ghost has the positional advantage, taking pot shots at OMG. But right now, oh, that's actually a nice shot by Balak, taking down XXB. 4AM's got a kill into OMG as well, so Balak looking to confirm, unable to do so far. They also have Morningstar below them, and just like that, it is VG getting picked apart by Ghost on the high ground, and that's going to be 2 easy kills there for them. And now they're going to have to turn their attention back to OMG on the edge of the zone. That is 2 down players. Clouds is down there as well. Balak now looking to try and secure yet another kill as OMG having a very tough second rotation. And Clouds will actually go down to the zone, but that's going to be stolen by Ghost. So that is that kill getting credited to them. That's 5 total kills now for Ghost. A nice little pickup on the edge of the zone. And I think that OMG is hurting right now, as it looks like XXB is going to get rezzed, but Ghost has decided they want to come off this fight, take the zone, and then maybe start it back up again. You can see XXB and Bikey both trying to get away in their vehicles, but Ghost continues to pressure.
This is a really good job for Ghost. Coming in on the hard edge like that, if they didn't get all the damage that they did to VG and OMG, they'd have to deal with a lot more pressure coming in, surrounding them, all these other teams trying to come in on this section of the map. And so the fact that they were able to lessen the load, even though they are on the hard edge, it does make it an easier path later on in. Yeah, they're
driving right into 4AM, and it looks like XXB out of the fuel and into the fire, now in the shack, trying to defend himself, just barely making the zone. They've already taken a couple of shots from 4AM earlier before Ghost got involved, and now they're stuck once again. So OMG not having a good time. Meanwhile, FaZe getting into it with Na'Vi, just trying to land more downs. It looks like FaZe already has the early advantage with 2 down on Na'Vi's side. Fuzzface getting aggro. He's going to maybe try and put some grenades onto Na'Vi in the down state. The reses have started. Sadovnik trying to get Pokemolodoy. Just looking for that long-distance frag grenade. Throws it actually up and over. If he had thrown it right at those barrels, it would have done a double kill potentially. You see Vitality taking down Monkey. Maybe that's another fight happening elsewhere. Sadovnik taking those long-distance shots as FaZe is now engaging with Snake TC, and I believe that's who Na'Vi's shooting at as well. Yeah. So just like that, this Pozo region starting to cook a little bit, as that's only a smoke grenade, but he's going to have to rethrow it anyway. The smoke's coming in support of his teammates on the exterior, with FaZe only picking up 1 kill in that exchange. So with Na'Vi wounded, but back at full strength, they're going to try and rotate away from this compound. FaZe is in a spread position with Fuzzface playing the exterior, Mixie on the interior of the barn building with 8Z on the rooftop. Sadovnik taking pressure from 8Z, as so will Shade. And this is a bit of a lucky break here for Na'Vi so far, as they're getting around and into FaZe's defense. And that is going to be 8Z taking down Shade and Botulan, and just like that, FaZe will take a couple off of Na'Vi. Sadovnik and Pokamaladoy getting away, but that was looking like a little bit of a silver lining for Na'Vi, but FaZe does take 2 more.
They at least are able to get 2 in. The fact that they got a player knocked when the blue was coming in, trying to force in, it slowed down their ability to be able to push through FaZe. And even after the revives of 4 versus 4 with FaZe's spread around that edge of El Pozo, Na'Vi knew that they were in a rough situation, so they just bombed in, and the fact that they even came out with 2 is actually a really good ending to that.
Ghost taking a ton of casualties in transition, Liquid finding them as they make the zone. I believe they lost 2 players through that. Meanwhile, the Knights continue to pick away at NIP. It looks like they're getting the upper hand in that trade. And yes, indeed, this is that fourth phase shift that we've seen. And just like that, we are starting to drop teams in the lobby. We've had our first team eliminated as we join the Knights, who are actually in turn getting eliminated by NIP. That looked more on their side, but here comes Vitality coming to clean up this fight now with NIP, who are very wounded, having taken a lot of damage from the Knights. Gaxi going down to the grenade of Monkey, and now it's going to be Vard and NBS trying to stave off elimination as the swarming Vitality has arrived on scene. Vard coming to support. Yannick is taking shot after shot, and Vard will get the initial down and the finish before Monkey comes around and takes him down. And just like that, NBS is going to be jumped upon as well. Not without cost for Vitality, but they are cleaned up nonetheless as NIP goes down in 13th place.
Ooh, Vitality, they do not like playing with this few players. They like to keep things low and slow, but on Miramar, sometimes you just have to deal with the hand that you're given. If that nade can land, that's going to be huge.
If that lands in the ditch, they're in trouble. M19 still trying to res. Lands a little short. That is smoked too soon as Wanderer goes down, and the nades follow-up continue as Ibiza and Jeems completely eviscerate these 3 members of M19. Elite players still left standing, but Ibiza now trains his eyes onto Lynxy on top of this hill. It's Atletico right next door. The nades coming atop the hill. Vitality a little bit further lurking as well. So for Lynxy, he's going to try and push this hill, get a little bit more visual information as OMG finished off by Ghost in the background. And for Atletico, it looks like Liquid does not want to engage. Snake TC harassing those from FaZe trying to make the zone. We are quickly moving through this game now here in phase number 5. And for FaZe Clan, they're going to want to take this fight. They're pushing the ridge on Snake.
FaZe are taking this rotation into Snake because this is the one path that they can go that they're going to be the less likely chance of getting third-partied. That does mean, though, that they still need to scale up this hill into a defending team, which obviously puts Snake with the advantage. But FaZe with 4 up, and we know just how strong of a roster FaZe are. That's actually intimidating enough for Snake to try and retreat away from this.
Yeah, they're getting away from that. Like, you know what? We know who's coming up this hill, and I don't think I want any piece of it. Snake mounts their vehicles, giving FaZe a free entry into the zone. And guess what? Cloud9 said, hey, I want a piece of Atletico as well. As Frost gets taken down, and so does Moody. And Atletico just eviscerates the 2 flanking members of Cloud9. K-Mine in the back line trying to get something going, but we have now a 3-way team fight developing here between Divine, Snake, and FaZe Clan. FaZe Clan getting the initial down onto Snake and the finish. And Atletico has actually been finished off, it looks like, by the remaining members of Cloud9. So they will lose 2 in that fight, but get the upper hand as Atletico goes down. And just like that, we're down to the top 10 teams, the top 9 teams, as FaZe continues to put the tax to Snake TC. They've got the smokes in and deployed, and they're trying to make their way across. Fuzzface looking for that initial spray. Does a lot of damage, but does not get the down. Yempty and company now wide in the open. This is a little bit precarious for them, as now Divine wants to get involved, taking down and finishing TNTN in the back line. So now it's only 1 left standing. It's Buganal stuck between the vehicles. And look at that. Divine gets a little bit of a reward. A crate landing directly in their compound. The lucky guys.
This is the problem with Snake not taking that fight against FaZe.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to push in to get a spot into the circle and take it from there, but by doing so, they ended up basically trapping themselves between 2 full teams. You can see exactly what happened to them. They needed to probably at least like take a little bit of that fight against FaZe. Maybe not wipe FaZe entirely, but at least deal a little bit of damage before forcing position, because now they got caught between 2 squads. It's just Bugu now left. FaZe is going to be a little bit difficult for them to push into Snake's position because of their lack of vehicles, but it still means they can clear out this area with ease. In fact, they're actually able to use the ridge line, just barely keep the line of sight broken, clear out the rest of Snake.
That's
and
that.
Now they have good control of a lot of the circle. It's just Divine they're going to have to worry about, but this ridge is going to be an easy way to block it.
Really nice ridge. We saw Ghost go down as well.
They're taking the fight anyway.
Balak going down to the zone a little bit while ago, so that's it. So Cloud9's got that southern edge. Na'Vi did lose another player, so they're down to 1. But Divine is looking pretty good here. They did run out and grab that crate. Liquid is still doing work on that southern portion. Looks like they're getting closer and closer to Cloud9. FaZe has got some vehicles to work with, and I think they want to make a little ridge buff here, and they try and get some line onto Divine. But M19 still has 1 left. Liquid has now taken the zone on Cloud9, and this is going to be tough for them. It looks like they're going to be aware of that positioning. K-Mine and Nerf may be thinking, do we want to take this vehicle? The zone closing in 10 seconds, but Liquid has the total advantage here, with Vitality also observing a little bit farther away, and this is going to be the push for C9. Nerf staying behind, running in with K-Mine, maybe running interference here, or at least trying to get something going. But, Nerf says, hey, how are ya? But it will get traded down with Fuzzface. So that is a pickup there, but looks like Nerf is going to be not getting any points for that. Fuzzface likely going to be res now. 7 kills for FaZe. K-Mine did make the zone.
Yeah, he's able to get in. That hold by Liquid just be too hard for C9 to break in if they didn't get some initial headshots. They didn't want to go for that peak play, essentially, because the blue is about to close. And so they sent the Hail Mary with K-Mine, which is able to stay alive for now. But K-Mine is actually being aggressive on this, trying to punish Liquid being trapped against Vitality, but he actually may get punished for that.
He's in trouble back there with K-Mine trying to just harass a little bit, like you mentioned, but Vitality is also having to make the zone here. Pokamaladoy also the wild card in the back at the edge of the zone. K-Mine is just getting peppered. Ibiza and Jeans are bullying. He held his own for quite some time, but K-Mine will get finished off. That's Cloud9 going down in 7th place. That's a bonus for Pokamaladoy, who had some attention coming his way. Ibiza now lost his vest. Gonna have to replace that. Vitality made the zone, and we are down to 6. 29 minutes into the game. FaZe Clan still 4 strong. Divine still holding on as well. So they have, I think the advantage here does Divine. They've got that hard cover depending on what this next shift does. If it goes north or south, we'll have to see. But for FaZe, they're feeling good. I'm not sure if AC did spot elite player in that shack, but they
should have.
Might have an idea.
Might have not, but
might have an idea. Maybe that the spider sense is tingling here for AC.
I mean, there's a vehicle right next to it. There's a big chance that someone is inside. But the door is on the opposite end, so they don't need to worry too much about it. They're able to spot that the door is closed at least. So if elite player, did want to try and do something as a solo player, FaZe would get the sound cue of the door opening. So they don't need to worry too much about that. They can easily turn their back on it and use their position to try and punish other teams that aren't inside a shack, like Liquid and Na'Vi down onto the south, because they know they can't.
They've got this vehicle set up that FaZe left them in the back line, and they're going to use it to full advantage. Looks like the helmet comes off of AC. Ibiza now takes down Mixie in the back line. Now FaZe is the one getting third-partied. They have 2 people to deal with, Mixie getting finished off, and Pokamaladoy looking to put a thorn in the side of Liquid. He's right on top of Ibiza. He can see them. Maybe this is the time where he wants those kill points. He's right on top of them. Unless he's going to jump up and snap his neck. Now's the time to shoot him in the back, Pokamaladoy. Make a decision, but he wants to stay and try and play for placement. He does not want those kill points just yet. He's going full solid snake as Divine is now losing members quickly. 2 down as FaZe trying to defend, but will not do enough as they get eliminated by Divine Esports, and now it's down to just a few teams left. Monkey goes down again, and that's going to be Vitality eliminated just like that. Liquid, the strong team of Samty and Ibiza, the last 2 standing with 9 total kills, but Divine's going to get the res, and they're going to stay 4 strong, and Samty's been spotted, and just like that, he's not going to get finished off, but he will actually go down. That looked like he might escape there, Cameron.
Just for a second, but FaZe actually going way over ambitious. They let Divine in. Like, they wanted to get in control of the circle, but by doing so, they gave Divine an easy entry, and then they end up getting caught between multiple squads. And there we go. There is the trade by Poka. He recognizes the opportunity that he had, and he punishes Liquid for it. But it's Divine, all Divine right now. 4v1v1.
Sneaky guy, Pokemolodoy, and there's a lead player. The guy that we all love to hate. Not him specifically, but just that guy in the shack in the late game. So this is looking like Divine's game here. It's a 4v1v1. They've managed to stay 4 up here, and they've played the smart game. And I think Pokemolodoy might be on fire here in a second. Yes, he is.
Good molly.
Crispy Pokemolodoy, and that's going to be it for him. So nice little molly there. And
Guys,
Divine now in a position to steal a game here after some smart plays. Looking very nice. So elite player is just going to... Well, he's going to do something, Cameron.
Come on, Divine, you got to know that it's the shack at this point. There you go. I think Levis is getting in position, just holding that.
There's only one place he could be.
Guys, it's the shack. Just throw a nade in there, please.
Elite player.
Take us out of our misery.
This is the best possible name for this play style we've seen here. Only the elite camp shacks, and he's going to be found with the Groza. But he's going to take the Levis down, but the cat's out of the bag. Elite player is going to have to make a play. He does get those 20 points. And it's the first aid kit coming out. So maybe does elite player, does he have something up his sleeve? Does he have the ability to avoid the nades and everything else that's going to be coming his way here in a second? Here comes another Molotov. That's right inside. And elite player is going to be the second guy cooked alive by Divine Esports, who secure game number 1 with 7 total kills and a very convincing fashion. Well played by Divine.
Very good finish by them, but the only reason that they were able to actually break their way in is because FaZe let them.
Yep.
This was a game that FaZe could have easily won. Divine actually didn't have to work too hard throughout the mid-game after ending up on that compound. It's just that FaZe got too distracted by Liquid and Vitality down to the south and to the southeast. They came in, they punished that, and they still had 4 strong because they weren't part of that fight at all. Part of this game is managing resources, and Divine didn't have to use any of them until the very end. And it's a good win, but you can tell that they didn't have to work too hard for it because they only got 7 kills. That's a little low for a kill score for winning a game. But the fact they did find an opening, and you can't blame them or even criticize them at all for taking that opening.
Absolutely. Well, a very nice game by Divine. The Cinderella story of this tournament so far, coming out of relative obscurity and securing another victory here. The first of day number 2, but let's kick it back over to the analyst desk. Datasaurus, take it away.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moses and Cameron, for casting that first game and another Divine win. I know you guys are really excited about one specific part, maybe a little Usher Raymond vibe, a little Let It Burn.
Tamales, yes, tamales. That's what we all wanted to talk about. Divine actually logically using Molotovs to get 2 kills. 2 kills.
But like Usher reference.
You like
I
it?
know.
It's like 2000s kids rise up, 90s kids rise up.
Yeah.
Just saying.
But
Just
no,
saying.
it
I'm proud
was.
of that one.
We were arguing because like I don't think mollies are that relevant on Miramar. They're far more relevant on Erangel. But like you said, they stop smokes. They're great for killing people in shacks, I guess. So yeah, no, that was
best
fun.
anti-smoke tool in the game. We keep seeing smokes be used so dominantly inside of this. So you naturally hold on to those smokes. Somebody throws down a smoke to go for a res, just throw the molly into it. Just be like, ha ha ha, and giggle maniacally the whole time.
Must you laugh maniacally when you throw it?
Yes,
like that's part of the rule.
That is a rule. If you like, okay, hands down, my favorite thing to do. Like, if you're talking about BM ways to kill people, after you get it down on somebody, just walk up to them and just like throw down the Molotov and run away and give them the Viking funeral and just kind of like dance around the outside of it while they burn to death. Oh, it feels so good.
Well, not only mollies, but grenades. They used a lot of grenades that game as well. So, you know, they were able to get some confirmed kills. But I want to say the last time that Divine won first place, they also had an M249. Every time they get those first place chicken dinners, they get those crates. And honestly, Divine, they had a moment there where I was thinking, I don't know if they were going to be able to make it. I mean, they had the compound for quite some time. I thought FaZe was going to push into that compound, but they saw a circle. They were going to, but then they got kind of third-partied by Liquid. So the game could have went either way, but Divine, 4 members alive towards the end, phenomenal.
They had a Groza as well, so like these guys do like to chase crates. And I'll be the first one to say, I was hard on them in the pre-show. I said, can they keep getting these wins to maintain their position? Apparently, they can, but it's on the back of some help.
Yeah, well, there we go. We have our scoreboard from this last game. Divine coming in first place. Wow. Only 7 kills with that first place, though. It's good for another 640 points, which is, if you're sitting in 5th, it's pretty nice. Team Liquid finding themselves in 2nd. Navi and M19 riding the ship a little bit here, starting off the day strong in 3rd and 4th. And FaZe with 8 kills coming in 5th place. But FaZe...
Wasn't it M19 that was in 2nd place? Not last round?
M19 was.
They got 1 kill. I mean, they snaked their way. Snaked their way to.
And that's the point, right? That's why M19's finding themselves in the middle of the pack.
That's what I'm saying.
They get high placements, no kills.
They got themselves second place, but look how far down on the leaderboard they are. That's just how telling these 20 points per kill are.
I mean,
it's just
where were they when they started today, though?
You got to be a lot more active. You can't hide in the shacks. You just can't do it.
Gotcha. Yeah, they started off in 9th today with 1,830 points, so that's going to be another 385 to it. But a second place with only 385 points, that's good for treading water. Right. But if you're trying to look to climb the leaderboards at this point, you really need to start coming up with more.
Got to get those wins.
Look at the punch that happened to Ninjas in Pajamas with that 11th place out, shifted them down a couple of positions.
Wow. Cloud9 as well, coming in 6th now. That's Divine Esports jumping up. Vitality still holding on to 3rd place. FaZe still has a death grip, our first team now to break 3,000 total points. And you have Liquid also making a little bit of a jump here. But Navi and OMG still making out our top 8. So not a bad performance here for the first day.
It comes down to kills. Like even that game, FaZe went out in 6, but they still racked up 8 kills in that match. And that's why they'll maintain their position. Divine Esports, I think we're going to see them in the top 5 for potentially the rest of the day, because of these wins and the kill counts they get.
And it was FaZe number 4 for FaZe, how they racked up all those kills. They were in El Pozo, right on the western edge. We had Snake TC driving up the mountain. They were getting some easy frags, and then they had Navi pinned down over there. Navi actually making a very good play. They knew they couldn't travel uphill, so they wrapped around the south, but ended up getting taken down by FaZe as well. So FaZe able to rack up those kills that game, able to keep them, as we see, in first place.
FaZe getting kills, but then getting killed, right? I think the big MVP for Divine, in my opinion, for this match is Liquid.
Oh, yeah.
Because FaZe had a defensible position south of Divine. They had to leave the comfort of their housing and push FaZe. And FaZe was ready for them, but that mixing knock that Liquid got,
big.
I believe it was Sampy that got the knock and the finish. FaZe is all about that spread we talk about, right? Covering their corners. Mixie was covering the back flank corner. He goes down. Divine pulls the push trigger immediately, and FaZe is done going, where's the threat? Where'd you get shot from? They're spitting. Divine comes over the hill, and they just get chopped apart.
Sandwich action.
Yeah, unfortunately, no interview for the winner because we don't have a translator for Vietnamese here. But Divine now, second win. But yeah, again, you were talking about FaZe. I mean, they were in such a good position there to win, and you could, if you go back and watch the VOD, eventually you can see that it looked like they were about to start pushing on Divine. They were about to start wrapping. Right as that down and flush came, they pulled back, and Divine was able to get their heels off, or get a heel off, and then kind of come back down and basically flush for FaZe. I mean, it was a matter of seconds that FaZe went from having 4 up to everybody dead.
And I will contend that maybe other teams wouldn't have done this. Divine Esports is willing to be aggressive the second that they get sort of a flare going up. And they did. They saw Mixie's knock, and they went for it right out. They were like, okay, we good? Let's push. And I think some other teams might have hesitated for a minute. A team like Vitality or M19 for sure would have sort of said, okay, you know, where's Liquid shooting them from a little bit more? These guys said, well, I think they've got a good spot. Let's just go take it.
Well, we're also starting to see Liquid start to get a little bit more of a breath of fresh air. They're starting to be like Liquid again, and you could tell inside that round, really felt it. Sure, we've got Samty that's having some issues right now, but he was still alive towards the end with Ibiza, and they were very, very powerful towards the end of that round. So I love to see the fact that we're starting to see Liquid be Liquid again.
9 kills, too. I mean, they had a couple of good grenades that you made mention of, and both Ibiza and James, the nade god, but 9 kills that game. They were in 4th place, so like you said, Matchum, Liquid being Liquid again with that drip on Jumpty.
Well, there you go. The Liquid Drip.
Liquid Drip.
Guys, we are going to go to a quick break. We'll be right back with Game 2 on Miramar very shortly. Don't go anywhere.
Performance-enhancing drips.
To the limit, I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to win it, yeah, I'm in it to win it. I swear to God, I ain't gon' stop till I'm ballin' like Russell Simmons. Ballin' like Russell Simmons, I'm ballin' like Russell Simmons. I'm on it, had some bad nights, ended up with good mornings, till I'm on it. Yeah, I'm on it, had some bad nights, ended up with good mornings, till I had a good morning. Read my book, know my story. You don't know what I've been through just to get to the glory. Worked hard, slept in cars, begging the Lord to take me at the dark. Threw me in the ocean with all them fish. Thank God I'm a shark. I bite while you dog is bark. I ain't never dropped no tears. I ain't never been no mark. I ain't never been no hater. No handouts, all money in. I got tough skin. I was born to win, even though we in a world of sin. We push it to the limit. I'm in it to win it. I'm in it to win it. Yeah, I'm in it to win it. I swear to God, I ain't gonna stop till I'm ballin' like Russell Simmons. Ballin' like Russell Simmons. I'm ballin' like Russell Simmons. Now I'm back to get that back. I need that now. Me relax. I need them stacks up. I'm making them tracks. If that don't work, I text. If they don't pay, then bodies I stack. Body parts stacked to the max. I'm taking facts. I got that rain for the rats, and I'm taking they cheese. Bleed. Life ain't easy, believe me, it's full of greed and hate. That weed, that cake, them snakes, them fakes, my readies don't play. Get money like Bill Gates, feel like we won them sweepstakes, we push.